Alright, what's going on, YouTube? Back this up a little bit. As you can see, I made myself a cool little slider rig. I've always wanted a slider just to play around with. I kind of had an idea of what they did, but I never wanted to spend the money on one because where I'm at, as far as, you know, my skill level and knowledge and everything, I didn't know if it would be worth it for me to spend the money. I didn't know if I'd get, you know, the full benefits of using a slider, not, you know, having a lot of knowledge about how to use them. So I decided to make one and see if it's something, you know, based off of the one that I made, if it's something that would be beneficial to me in making just my little YouTube videos and stuff. So yeah, what I did was I just took a simple old school little skateboard here, cut it down, moved the trucks both in towards the center, and I left a space in the center right there for drill a hole, run a bolt. I covered it in this like nice smooth felt material because originally my plan was to mount the camera right to it, but then I remembered I had this cool little swivel here. But yeah, then that allows you to pivot the camera in any direction that you want to get sort of cool different shots. Yeah, that's pretty much the gist of the little dolly itself. And then with this part, the track, all it is like a plank of this like really expensive wood. I don't know what the hell it is, but I had it laying around, never used it, so I think it's some sort of wood flooring or something. But it's real light, and it's really sturdy, so that's why I used it, just because of the weight. If I wanted to mount it on a tripod, it wouldn't be this big chunk of wood weighing a lot. And then also used these pieces of steel here, which were from an old shelf that I had that sort of fell apart over the years. But it just turned out that they worked perfectly as little rails just to keep it in a straight line, so that it can't go left or right, you know, or like sort of turn or anything, give it any sort of wiggle. So yeah, it rolls perfectly. And the nice thing about it too is these are, if you really push on them, they're bendable, so you can sort of speed it up or slow it down just by giving a little bit of friction on the side of the wheels. So yeah, I mean, all I did was glue these to this plank of wood, measured it up, glued it down, then I used some little brad nails on this power stapler, shot them in there, done. So it's super easy, and it worked out awesome. Obviously you can just move it with your hand, self-explanatory, get cool shots. Or you can take and sort of wherever you want to do, put something under it, and then you can just sort of let gravity do the work. And then in post-production you can slow it down, you know, add a warp stabilizer if you do get any bounciness to it. But it gives it, one thing I realized is that using a slider like this, it makes just your average normal shot that is you might not even use in a video, it gives it this really cool dramatic effect to everything. And then when you mess with the angle of the camera and everything, you can get even cooler effects, lighting and all that stuff. And like I said, in post-production you can slow it down, and you can use like, you know, different like old school film looking effects and music over it and all that. So just having a slider like this makes a world of difference. And the other thing I also is cool that I did here, or that I sort of thought of, was I have this little adapter here that's for a GoPro. So that just screws right there to the little swivel, which is the same size as what goes on any DSLR or regular camera. So you could screw this onto here, and then you'd be able to mount your GoPro right on there. And then the other thing I have is this guy here, which is for a camera, and it also just has threads that thread onto this guy, and it's, you know, just an extendable phone mount, so you could actually use your phone. And you know, like newer phones now obviously have really good cameras on them, so it's another thing. You could use your phone, you could use a GoPro, DSLR, pretty much any style camera, and it works awesome. So I had my son sit down, which is really hard to get him to sit down, but I didn't, probably only spent about 2 minutes total on this, because that's about as long as he would sit. But just in those 2 minutes, just not even doing any preparation with lighting or anything, I was able to get some really cool footage that normally would suck, but just by having this rolling motion, it gave it this really cool dramatic effect. And it's a lot cooler than using like that Ken Burns effect, which is sort of like a zoom and pan on just a still photo. This makes it 100 times better. So yeah, without further ado, here is what I was able to come up with.